Here's everything you need to know about Camera Control, the brand new button on the entire iPhone 16 lineup. I'm going to go over the functions, both basic and advanced, the most helpful use cases that make Camera Control actually worth it, how it functions inside various cases, and some settings you can change to make it work even better. So as you can see, it is an actual physical button. You can see it depress right here, and it also has haptic feedback. That's how you can get light touches, full presses, and swipes all from one button. Now, if your iPhone is locked and you press the Camera Control button, it's going to turn on the screen. Press it again, and then you'll jump into the camera. If your phone is already unlocked and you press Camera Control button once, it goes directly into the camera mode. If you want to just use it like a normal shutter, you can just press it firmly once again, and you've taken a picture. As you can see, when you take a picture pushing the camera button, it kind of moves the phone a little bit. But in addition to the firm press, you can lightly press it, kind of a half press, and now you'll see it brings up the different controls. Whichever your last control was, you can now swipe back and forth and adjust that setting. And if you do a double light press, that's how you can switch the tools here in Camera Control. And quickly, all the tools you have here are exposure, depth effect, zoom level, changing between the lenses, photographic styles, and then tone control, all right here from Camera Control. Now keep in mind, everything that is in Camera Control, you can also access here, just in the normal camera app. Tap the arrow on the left, it brings up some tools, including the new tone map, which is on the iPhone 16 Pro and Pro Max specifically. I'll go over these settings more in depth, but one of the newest features in the iOS 18.1 beta is if you go to the Camera Control, here you can switch between the 2x, 5x, and new in 18.1 is the new selfie mode, and you can switch to that right here with Camera Control. Now you might be going into selfie mode to record content of yourself. If you are, let me recommend the most low-profile, portable tripod you can take with you anywhere you go. It's the first 3-in-1 MagSafe accessory to seamlessly integrate a wallet, tripod, and iPhone stand, all attached to the back of your phone with MagSafe. And look how thin it is, super seamless. I've been using this with my iPhone 16 Pro Max, and it pairs great with the new vegan leather MOVA cases from MOFT, because not only is it the most low-profile wallet you can put on the back of your phone, but if I just want to watch a quick YouTube video while I'm eating, it's the perfect stand with me everywhere I go. I can put it into stand mode, change the angle precisely where I'd like, and rotate the phone either in portrait or landscape mode. It elevates your iPhone up to 8 inches, which is perfect for video viewing. But it's also great for filming a quick story or reel wherever you are. Maybe put a timer on and jump in a family photo, or use it in vlogging mode to film yourself, like how I filmed my recent Tesla video. You can fit up to 2 cards in the wallet, which is great for my Apple Card and driver's license, and you can even tap to pay using NFC without taking the cards out of the case. It comes in 2 colors. This is the taupe. It also comes in a navy blue, and pairs perfectly with those MOVA cases from MOFT, and you can have it with you wherever you go. Click on my link below in the video description to get your hands on the MOFT Invisible Phone Wallet Tripod today. Now before I get into what cases work best with it and how I've used Camera Control, jump into the settings, go to Camera, and then you'll see Camera Control gets its own menu option here. Now when you activate Camera Control, it actually hides all the other controls in the camera for a clean preview. You can actually disable that if you want to still see all those controls even when you activate Camera Control. I actually like them just staying there persistently. This way I can still quickly switch between lenses and adjust things with Camera Control. So I actually turn the clean preview off. Also, if you find you're getting false button presses and launching the camera by accident, you can choose to have a double click to launch the camera. Now if I press it once, nothing happens, double click it, and it'll jump into the camera. Also, you can have Camera Control launch another app directly, like ObscuraCam or Halide. If I do that, anywhere I am on the phone, I can click the camera button and it'll jump right into the Halide app. Halide and other camera apps will be updating to support Camera Control and those light presses, but right now it's just used as a shutter button. Now there's actually even more settings to adjust Camera Control if you go down to Accessibility. In the Accessibility menu, go down to Camera Control, and here you can disable the button entirely if you'd like, and if you find the light presses and swipes are difficult to use and you just want to use it as a shutter button, you can actually disable those right here, and now it'll use it to jump into camera mode, and no light presses can be done. It'll be used strictly as a shutter button. You can also just choose to have the light press and disable the swipe, or enable both. But more importantly, you can adjust how light or firm you need to press the button for those light presses. You can also change how fast you need to double light press it to access the controls. I actually like going a little lighter on the control. This way I can launch the camera and it's a little easier to access those controls. So I actually prefer the lighter touch on Camera Control, but play around and adjust to see how you like it. So one of the main things I've been doing with Camera Control is going to the exposure setting. The reason being, it will actually lock the exposure. So if I go down, turn the exposure down this way, I can now move the camera around and it's not going to change the exposure. Now I can tap, but you'll see typically when you had tapped before, it would change the exposure immediately. Now it's going to keep that exposure setting that you put in camera control. Now I can still drag the little sun icon up and down to adjust exposure, but I have found that setting it with camera control and then keeping it persistent has been a nice touch. One other cool feature is if you're in video mode, you can go to the zoom tool and actually swipe to zoom while you're recording the video. That's been a pretty cool feature. I don't know how often I'll use it when actually filming, but you actually get a pretty smooth zoom in and out, at least once you get past that 1x and 2x. So using it as a zoom tool while filming video, that's pretty cool. And aside from exposure, the one other tool that I find really helpful is setting the tone. Setting the tone here, you can actually get a more granular and exact number. I've been typically turning the tone down, and I've heard from photographers like Tyler Stallman and Austin Mann that turning the tone down will get a more natural photo. But I found that when I go to the tone map, which is this square here, it's really hard to get that exact number, whether you're trying to get minus 50 or 60. It just takes a long time to get it precisely there with my thumb on this pad. But if you use camera control, it's a little easier to get to that exact negative 0.5 or 0.6 using the camera control slider. Finally, in addition to tone, I've found that the Photographic Styles, it's nice to be able to have the full viewfinder and switch between these different styles here, and you can set those tone mappings for each style, which is nice. By the way, if you haven't played around with Photographic Styles on your 16 Pro or Pro Max yet, there's actually an entire settings screen. If you go to the camera settings on your iPhone, you'll see Photography Styles here, and the first time you open it up, you can reset it to standard if you want to undo some of the changes, or get started. Here you'll actually choose 4 recent photos, which I really wish you could choose from your entire photo library. You kind of have to choose from the last few days, or at least the last few dozen photos. And if you're like me, a lot of those might be screenshots or photos of the desk I just took with camera control. But once you actually choose the photos, you can actually swipe between the different photographic styles, even adjust how much they're applied. I actually like the amber tone, turning that down a little bit. Has a nice warm tone to the photos. You can tap on a specific photo to zoom in and adjust that tone even further. And then once you've set that slider for each tone, you can continue and your photographic styles have changed. You'll see the little tone thing pop up here if you want to adjust it further, and then you can save it or start over if you'd like. Once you make those changes in the photographic style settings, then when you go to the styles here or using camera control, you'll have your tone map set anytime you switch between each style. Now let's talk about cases, because case makers have to solve the issue of the capacitive swiping in addition to pressing the button. Apple's own silicone and clear case went for a button on a button. They talked about it during the event that it will actually pass through the capacitive swipes and touches, and it works pretty well, even for the light touches. So I just took a picture there. But setting it to the light mode, I can actually double press, swipe between the tools, double press again, and it's pretty responsive. It's not as natural as using the actual button on the device, but it's pretty close. So having a capacitive button on there works pretty well. Other case makers like MOFT have gone for a larger style cutout, and I do find this larger cutout makes it easier to do the swiping. A lot of times I'm swiping past the button to make sure I get to the control I want, and having that extra room around camera control with a larger cutout, I think makes for a better experience. Finally, the third style case we've been seeing is a small cutout right around the button. Now I've found you can actually take pictures and press the button just fine, but swipes and those light presses are a little more cumbersome. Light pressing into that hole, you can do it, and it works just fine. This is the Nomad leather case, double light press. You know, it's okay. The swipes work okay. The hole kind of guides you into the button. But when it comes to that double light press, I find it's not as nice as having the larger cutout. I think aesthetically, this looks nicer, but just having that full control over the button, I think the larger cutouts are good. The capacitive button on top of camera control is probably the best option, and it might be a while until case makers can actually work those into their cases. So those are all the different controls and options you have for camera control. Let me know if you have any questions down in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. I have a ton more content about iPhone 16 coming soon, including a bunch of accessories, even how to build a wild phone cage like this one. So yeah, get subscribed. And if you want to see all the features that came out with iOS 18, 95 plus features total, you can check out my video right up here. Or if you want to learn about Apple Intelligence and what's coming in 18.1, I cover that right up here. Thanks for watching. I'll catch you next time.